Saturday marks 1 year since the Supreme Court overturned the landmark Roe v. Wade ruling, sending the fight over abortion right back to individual states. A new polling from CBS News shows 57% of people asked think the court's decision has been bad for the country. 43% said it has been good. Meanwhile, half of those polled said the abortion access has become more restrictive than they expected. CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killion joins us from Capitol Hill. Nicole, it's hard to believe it's been a year. What activity on the Hill are you seeing ahead of the 1 year mark since the Dobbs decision?
Well, really, for the part of Democrats, this is about trying to put the focus back on the issue of restoring abortion rights. Of course, it was a huge defeat for Democrats and liberals, of course, with the overturning of Roe versus Wade with the Dobbs decision. So Democrats have really, in terms of a messaging perspective, have been utilizing this week to really draw attention to what they feel is the lack of care that has now resulted from the overturning of this ruling. And so, for instance, today you had Democratic female senators who held a press conference to highlight some of the legislation that they're proposing to.
Oh, looks like we have a technical issue and we lost Nicole Killion. Hopefully we can talk to her a little bit later. Oh, we have her. She's back. There she is. Nicole, sorry, we lost you for a second. Please continue.
Well, what I was saying is, Democrats in particular are trying to use this opportunity to try to draw attention to legislation that they believe would restore abortion access and care. Here in the Senate, we saw Democratic women senators who held a press conference earlier today to highlight, for instance, various pieces of legislation, whether that is to, for instance, ensure birth control for women, to ensure medical access for women when it comes to their reproductive rights and health care, to also work on codifying abortion protections into law. That is also something that is happening on the Democratic side, where a trio of House Democrats who are part of the pro-choice caucus have also not necessarily introduced legislation, because there's legislation that had already cleared the House in the last Congress, but what they are doing is taking a procedural step to try to reintroduce legislation, namely the Women's Health Protection Act, which again would codify abortion access and protections into law. And so that is a bill that cleared the House under the democratically controlled House in the last Congress. But now these lawmakers are filing what is called a discharge petition to try to force a vote on this measure, although it would need Republican support to try to get to the floor.
Nicole, our colleague, CBS News congressional correspondent Scott McFarland spoke with Democratic Representative Pat Ryan from New York, who was elected shortly after Roe was overturned. Let's listen to what he had to say.
I represent a very swing district, a purple district, and there was an overwhelming message sent in my district in two different elections that my district, and I believe most Americans, want reproductive rights.
How do you expect abortion access to impact future elections?
Well, it certainly will be a prominent part of the 2024 elections, both on the congressional and presidential level. And I think, again, that is why you are seeing it this week, House Democrats really trying to get this issue back in the fore, because they have seen that it has been an effective issue for them in terms of, really keeping this issue front and center and trying to galvanize voters to get out to the polls to try to, roll back this decision in some shape or form, now that, of course, we have more of a piecemeal system. Republicans, for their part, though, have also been using this opportunity in this upcoming Dobbs anniversary to really tout their successes as far as things go with this issue. Obviously, this is an issue that many conservatives have been rallying for, to try to roll back Roe versus Wade. And so many Republicans, while not necessarily pushing for a national abortion ban, are highlighting what they feel are strides made in this fight. And so, many Republicans at this point feel that this should be an issue that is litigated on the state level, although there have been various pieces of legislation here on the federal level that have been introduced as far as potential abortion bans, whether that is for a 6-week ban, 15-week ban. Those are still proposals that are up for debate. There really is no plan at this point in time for legislation to come to the floor on the House side, for instance, anytime soon, but certainly an issue that many Republicans feel equally passionate about as well. And again, hoping to galvanize their supporters more so on the state level in terms of continuing to make strides there.
Nicole Killion, thank you.
You bet.